We are live. It is time for the main event of the evening. Welcome to No Dumb Questions, where what I get to do is I get to answer your questions and create the opportunity for a dialogue. Now tonight, what we're going to do, talk a little bit about politics. Now I may get loud because, I'm outside, but for the sake of the conversation, I'll do what I can to keep it brief. We're in the midst of the Democratic National Convention, and the question is often raised, who are you going to vote for? And the question is strange because it becomes, on some level, an indictment on the race. Sorry, my dog wants to come out and be part of No Dumb Questions. Come on, Ditto. It's as much an indictment on the cultural commitment as it is more so than it is a question on who you're going to vote for. And so we're talking nationally right now about who you're going to vote for president. And I think that the Democrats have both an opportunity and a problem. They're the same thing. The truth is that the argument that Donald Trump is a bad person is one that didn't work the first time. When he won in 2016, he was a bad person. He has since been indicted for many crimes that he committed during or after his presidency, before, during, and after his presidency. Calling him a bad person as your go-to, not going to do what is necessary in order to inspire people to come over to the side of the Democrats. There are essentially two sides. There is about 50% who go to the left, and there's about 50% who go to the right. This is what the numbers are saying throughout the country. And they're typically within a margin of error, 52%, 48%, vice versa, whatever. And so the question becomes, why is it that the Democrats in particular seem to think that speaking about jobs is how you talk to black people? Why isn't it that the African American community are seen as entrepreneurs, as business owners? Why is it that when the Democrats speak to us, they think that the unions in general are in fact a proxy for African Americans, that we should be happy with a good job, that we should be happy with a minimum wage conversation, and we should be happy with taking the crumbs that the table of massa has to offer? In order for, I believe, the Democrats to truly shift the conversation to the left so that more people will see themselves as part of the Democratic Party, what has to happen is we have to start to see the Democrats, and most specifically now Kamala Harris, present an argument for her candidacy that is more than just Donald Trump's a bad guy, democracy is in peril. People have already decided what they're going to do around that argument. They've already made up their mind which side they're going to go on. So how do you get the swing that you need to be able to sustain a lead so that you can win? The Democrats don't seem to be interested in pushing beyond the status quo any more than the Republicans. The status quo is the status quo. The status quo is maintaining the systems that have for many years hurt the African American community. It is easy to see those trucks pass by with the American flag on the back and think, yeah, that's a Trumper. But they're not the only people in trucks. There are so many people who are African American who see themselves as entrepreneurs. They may have a job, but bigger than their job is their aspiration of owning a business or a house or sending their kids to the school of their choice. These are the aspirations that many African Americans have, but we're not often taken seriously because the Democratic Party is comfortable with seeing us simply as part of the labor force. Even the conversation about African Americans is our unemployment rate, not how many more African Americans now own businesses. Even our friends in black media have to acknowledge that our friends in the Democratic Party don't do any more than those in the Republican Party to use African American media. So which party is going to push forward the narrative of we're going to work harder to make sure African Americans are not just employees of large corporations with a good minimum wage and good benefits, but which African Americans are going to be able to start their own corporations, which African Americans are going to have more access to money as a result of their position in the salvation of the Democratic or Republican Party. Both parties need us. Both parties need us to show up in a way that we wouldn't otherwise show up. And the problem is that the Democrats have always taken us for granted. Again, this is what happens when having a conversation with sycophants. They start to jump around and say, but wait, this election is more important than any other. Really? He has a plan that 2025. Trump said he was going to build a wall. He didn't. He lied. Trump said that he was going to win so much that we'd get sick and tired of winning. He didn't. He lied. We know that he is a liar. We absolutely know he's a liar. I mean, he really is. Man's literally perjured himself. So we know he's like a liar. So why do we believe him now that he's actually going to be able to follow through on something? That dog of he's bad and we're good can only get you so far. What's at stake now is this group of people who see themselves as entrepreneurs, social entrepreneurs, and or for-profit entrepreneurs. These are people who are not being factored in to the struggle. So when the Democrats are putting forward a plan, they're not putting forward a plan that is showing explicitly how African Americans in particular will be taken care of. Of course he has major character flaws. He had them when he won the first time. If you want to win, saying he has major character flaws when that's a known fact is not going to do what needs to be done. He had major character flaws when he was leading over Joe Biden 3 weeks ago. He was a convicted felon 3 weeks ago. He was a convicted felon with major character flaws 3 weeks ago when he was in the lead. What's being missed here is that the Democrats, which I am one of, have to come up with a platform that somehow shakes free those people who are still undecided. Look at the polls, ladies and gentlemen. It is 50-50. Sometimes she's at 51-49, but that's what we refer to as a margin of error. They're not asking everyone. They're asking a small sample of the American population who say that they're going to vote. I don't feel good with 51-49. I don't feel good with 50-50. If the Democrats really want to start to do something, they have to capture the imagination of the people, selling the idea of hope, selling that he's a bad person, he cheated on his wife, and then having Bill Clinton come in there as a feature doesn't really make you look like you occupy the moral high ground. Saying that he's a bad person who was cheated on his taxes, it just doesn't move the people who are on his side against them. It just doesn't move them to the left. In order to have a real conversation with the American public, you have to go beyond where you've been. Saying that she went to a historically black college. She had gone to a historically black college before 2016 when 99% of the Democrats voted against her. 99%. Kamala Harris only had 1% of the electorate vote for her when she ran for president. She had been in the Divine Nine before 2016. She had been a black woman. She had been a black woman of South Asian descent. She had been all these things before then. Those things didn't even move Democrats back then. saying, well, the alternative is so much worse. We were told the same thing in 16. We were told the same thing in 20. We've been told that over and over and over again. I implore African Americans in particular to fight for something more than just don't vote Republican, because that will mean that you're not black, as Joe Biden told us when he was on the Breakfast Club in 2020. If you vote for Republican, you ain't black. He said that. And we got a little mad at him on Black Twitter, and then we elected him. And the question is, are there more African Americans who own businesses now? I don't think so. Are there more African Americans who have greater access to wealth as a result of the Biden presidency? I don't know that the evidence is there one way or the other. I'm not saying that Trump will, but at least if the Democrats got off the union nipple for 20 seconds, just long enough to realize that not everybody's looking for a union job. Everybody ain't looking. Everybody ain't looking for that. Some people are looking for a politician to say, you know what? You have an HVAC company, and we want to make sure more African Americans gain access to these big contracts with these government buildings that are being talked about. So we're going to create more MWB opportunities for you. We're going to push hard to get that put back in. If you don't look at the way the numbers are falling, and if the whole point here is she's black, he's white, so you got to vote for her. She was black in 2016 when people didn't vote for her. What changed? He was white in 2016 when people didn't vote for her. Argument didn't fly then, it ain't flying now. She has been a lifetime public servant. He has been a rich guy born with a silver spoon on his mouth on third base. All that was true then. So if that wasn't enough, and it's still not enough to create the distance that's necessary to put her within striking distance of winning, then it's incumbent upon the Democratic Party. It's incumbent upon the Democrats to come up with something bigger, something that's going to move people, something that's going to inspire people, something that's going to give them the inside lane, the inside track to create an opportunity for them that they do not currently have. Democrats used to focus on school choice. They did. President Obama opened more charter schools than any president in American history. He created more school choice opportunities. He, in fact, created more voucher programs than any president in history, more than Donald Trump, who claimed he was going to do it. See, y'all keep saying Donald Trump said he was going to increase the school choice option. He didn't. He didn't do it. He didn't do it. No more than he built a wall. So, to that end, we have to get something more. More black home ownership. Black kids closing the achievement gap in the white schools, which is really an opportunity gap, because those schools are creating the opportunity gap by not allowing African American children to take college preparatory classes all over the country. Creating more opportunities other than just a union job. Something more meaningful than a union job. This is not 1965, ladies and gentlemen. Like, for real, it's not. They're black barbers who could expand their business in black beauty salons. They're African Americans who have ideas. Think of how many people you know who are African American who have an idea of a company that they want to start, whether it's online or whatever. We need to create a direct pipeline. The reason why African Americans are in the circumstances that they are is because we're African Americans, and the only way we're going to get out of that circumstance is to create opportunities for African Americans. You call it reparations. I'm not there, but I will say this: because black people are black, that's why their children are not being fairly educated in the schools. Because black people are black, it's the reason why we're more likely to be arrested, and not because we commit more crimes. It's the reason why we're more likely than any other group to be harmed by police officers. If there are not rules on the books that specifically, explicitly hold to account everyone from schools to police stations, where the evidence is clear that African Americans are being harmed by these specific institutions, then nothing is going to change. These are the types of policies that I'm interested in hearing from the Vice President and the Democratic Party. We need to create more opportunities. If the goal here is to win, coming in on that whole okey doke, you come talk to our churches, you come tell us that you're black, and we're just supposed to fall over and play dead for you. I'm past that. I'm over that. Create more opportunities for black people to open their own schools. Create more. Don't just tell us that you support HBCUs. Support historically black elementary schools and high schools that are started by African Americans. Don't just show up and tell us that you support us when you need us. Because I was on call. See, many of you don't know this, but when President Biden was running in 2020, he put forward a number of people, black people, some of whom you know because they're on cable TV, to talk to people like me. And we got on a Zoom and we understand. Yeah, we understand. I'm telling you that I was on those calls with people representing the Biden campaign in 2020. I was on those calls. And I know the other people who were on those calls, and you see them on CNN pretty regularly. Those people said, oh yes, we'll definitely bring back to President Biden how important it is to have school choice. Nothing. We'll definitely talk about how important it is for African Americans to start their own schools. Nothing. Nothing. So where are all the policies that we were promised the first time? So when I say that to my friends who are African American, no, please don't say that now. Wait till after the election. Oh, you think they're going to listen after the election? Really, you think so? That's what you think is going to happen? You're bugging. It's not going to happen that way. Here's what's going to happen. What's going to happen is if Vice President Harris, I love homeschooling. If Vice President Harris is going to win, if she's going to win, she is going to need to do something other than tell people that Donald Trump is a bad person. He was a bad person when he won the first time. If Vice President Harris is going to become President Harris, then what she's going to need to do is put forward a platform that is going to find a way to ensure that being black is no longer a liability in the United States of America. That schools will close achievement gaps, and those schools that do not close achievement gaps will be closed. She's not going to say that. Not going to say that because she's afraid of the white women in the teachers union. She's not going to do that. If she wants to make sure that many of our friends who own small businesses, from lawn care services to jewelry makers to hair salons and barbershops, those people who own small stores, boutiques, those people need access to money, especially African Americans who do that. Those people need access to money. And so this is where Vice President Harris could put forward a policy that says that we are going to incentivize banks to lend to small African American businesses. We are going to work harder to make sure that African Americans can expand their businesses. See, we right now have heard that Donald Trump is unhinged. He's been unhinged. We got it. But 50% of America are comfortable with him being unhinged. Donald Trump is a racist. 50% of America is comfortable with that. Donald Trump lied about the election. 50% stops that. That's not working. You're not moving any of them over to your side. And in fact, are leaking out African Americans. African Americans are starting to make their way over to the right. For whatever reason, many African Americans are seeing themselves in this guy. I don't know why. They think because he's a businessman and they want to be business people, women and men, they think that he understands where they're coming from. Vice President Harris has spent her entire career working in the government. Her whole career, she's only worked in the government. A lot of people don't aspire to spend their entire career working in the government and getting a pension. A lot of people don't see working for the government as their goal. They're not going to college to work for the government. They're not going to law school to work for the government. They're not going to vocational school to work for the government. They're not doing that. In fact, that's not their goal at all. So for whatever reason, there are many people who are African American who are identifying with Donald Trump, and they're fully aware of his foibles. Saying that he cheated on his wife, they knew that before. That doesn't bother them. They're saying, even if that's who he is, we know he's a convicted felon. So, what they have attached to him can be something that the left can have attached. But here's the problem. The problem with the left is they're so lazy that they think that all they need to do is tell you that you can have a good union job. Well, why the hell are we taking out all these student loans and going to college if the only thing we're going to come away with is what we would have gotten if we had just graduated from high school? Union, yes. Not for everybody. Not for everybody at all. In fact, that small percentage of the population that needs to be moved, they may not have a truck with an American flag or a Trump sign on the back, but they're asking themselves some hard questions. They want to know, how are you going to pay for all this government housing? How? So the Harris administration is claiming that they're going to build housing projects? For real? So even if that were the case, even if they're going to build public housing projects because that's how they're going to take care of the housing crisis, and if they're somehow going to socialize medicine, which, okay, not sure how you're going to do that either. Like, where is all this money going to come from? They have to make it make sense. They have to find a way to make reasonable people who don't want to vote for Donald Trump, but also don't want to find themselves in a situation. Look, I'm going to tell you right now, this entire neighborhood, not me, but this entire neighborhood, they're going to vote for Trump. Yes, they are. Yes, they absolutely are. They've taken their signs down because, maybe it's not really popular. But the small business owners around me, the small business owners for me, they're like, I don't see how giving people more is going to help you be successful. For many African Americans, the goal is to start their own businesses, to create their own opportunities, for their family. What if, for instance, the Harris administration said that what she was going to do was to create an opportunity for small business owners to pass down their business to the next generation without paying what would essentially be a wealth tax? See, what if the focus, because stop telling me how black you are if you're not going to support black people. Stop telling me how black you are and how black the college you went to school was and how black the sorority you're in is, if at the end of the day you being black doesn't mean anything for black people. There are a lot of black people. There are a lot of black people who do a lot of things. But if your blackness does not translate into better circumstances for African Americans, then stop telling me. I'm not interested. I'm not interested at all. What I want to hear is, I'm black and watch how I got you. See, because the way I grew up was, if there are 5 people in the car and only one person can pay to get into the party, everybody who came in that car is getting into the party, because I'm going to go in, and I'm going to open the back door. Show me, Vice President Harris, how you are going to make sure that back door is open. Show me how you're going to combat systemic racism. Show me in a real way. Show me how you're going to hold judges accountable who do unfair sentencing. Show me that. Show me how you're going to show how so many people who are African American go to prison for a longer period of time for the same exact crime. Hold those judges accountable, even the ones who are judges for life. Show me how you're going to hold banks accountable who have unfair lending practices. Show me something other than, we'll get you a good union job. The unions that are still run by the same white dudes, those unions, you going to get me those jobs? That's what you're going to do for me? Yeah, I'm good. I didn't go to all this college to get a union job. I didn't. Sorry to break your heart. I didn't go to all this college, and I didn't send my kids to all this college for them to just get a union job. And it is insulting to think that crumb off a master's table is supposed to motivate us to get out there to knock on doors and to convince everyone we know who's black that we're supposed to vote for you. The statement then is, well, they don't do any more on the right. I know that. They know that. They ain't even coming for us. They're not asking for my vote. They got their ball. They have their voting block put in place. But you need black people. The left needs black people. Otherwise, there is no chance of you becoming president. So, simply this. There are small business owners who are black. And these small business owners who are black need a president who isn't just going to say that she's African American, but she's going to make sure that African Americans win. We need somebody who is president, who is an African American, who makes sure that the criminal justice system is held to account. That you take a look annually at the judges and their sentencing, and you review their sentences. When you find that two people who committed murder, one white, one black, get disparate sentences, you hold that judge accountable. When you go to school systems and you find that there's a significant difference in the performance of African American children, we're looking to open a school in New Rochelle, New York. 1%, though the majority, almost 80% of the community is African American, 1% of the children who take advanced placement classes are African American. That school system should be held to account. Federal funding should be snatched out of their hands, and they should never get it again until they get themselves right. Start holding school systems accountable who are disparately treating our children. Start holding banks accountable who don't lend openly and fairly to African Americans. I am saying, don't just tell me you're black. Don't tell me you know all the words to a Beyonce song. I'm not for that. You ain't selling me on that. That's not how I'm getting down. That's not what you're going to do for me. Start showing me how you purchase black media, not just when you need to get your behind in office, but how you purchase black media writ large. Don't tell me that you forgave loans when you know that the student loans, when you know the majority of the people whose loans you've forgiven are white. You think I'm dumb? You think I don't know that the majority of the student loans that you forgave were to white people who now are upper middle class? But you want me to, you want to tout that as something you did for black people? I want to hear what the Harris administration has in store for African Americans. Many of the statements that I just made won't cost the Harris administration a single dime. Taking a look at the achievement gap that exists within schools where there are white children and black children, it's free. You want to keep that Department of Education open? Have it do something. Have it hold schools accountable who maintain an achievement gap for 70 and 80 years. Let's do that. Take a look at police departments who seem to have more than a few problems with arrests in African Americans at a significantly disproportionate rate than the white people who live in the community. Show the judges who keep sentencing African Americans at a rate higher than they do any other group. Show banks who consistently have trouble lending to African Americans. See, Harris administration put in place policies that will improve the lot in life of African Americans. Do that now. Offer that up. We got it. You're an AKA. Awesome. You went to Howard. Dope. You worked at McDonald's. Awesome. Single mom. Cool. Tell me how that translates into policies that are going to explicitly improve the lot and life of African Americans. I know the Republicans are not going to do it. I don't know that the left is going to do it either. I don't know that the Democrats are going to do it. As of today, I have not seen the level of vigor to improve the status of African Americans that I have for women's rights to choose. You want to fight for constitutional amendments? Fight for a constitutional amendment that repairs the relationship that you have for African Americans. I haven't seen the level of commitment openly around policies from the left, the same level that you want for LGBTQ. Policies, not lip service. Not lip service. For me, I want to see policies. I want to see policies the same way that the left is saying that they're going to create policies to make it so that people can live their truth as gay, straight, lesbian, bisexual, questioning, transgender. I want to hear at least that level of commitment to African Americans. I want to hear policies, laws, strategies to make sure that we too gain access to the American dream. I want to hear policies. I love Stevie Wonder too. Patti LaBelle is dope. John Legend, awesome. Common, I mean, come on. Love them. Now what? Because we have the same taste in music doesn't mean we have the same taste in policies. We, African Americans, and people who are referred to as African American proximal, people who are in relationships, intimate or otherwise, with African Americans, we have to fight to make sure that the wrongs have been written for African Americans. We have to make sure that the opportunities are put in place for African Americans. Make sure that the federal government, these same employees that you're working so hard to keep, make sure that those banks, large and small, that do not lend, do not seek, do not create opportunities for African Americans, that they cannot receive federal backing. Do that. We are about to give our vote away again. This is the most important election in our lifetime. Y'all want to run that back from 2016? Y'all want to run back from 2008? Y'all want to run back from 2012? Y'all want to run that back 1984 or 88 when Jesse Jackson was running? He's black. Y'all didn't support him. Matter of fact, he beat Bill Clinton, and y'all chose him. Is it too much to ask a sister, to look out for some brothers, to create more opportunities for black people to open businesses and keep the businesses that they have open, to create more opportunities for African Americans to create not-for-profits in our own community? Is it too much to ask that a sister creates the opportunity for more African Americans to open schools, for more African Americans to choose the schools that work best for them? Is it too much to ask to make sure that the judges who keep sending our people to prison at a rate that is far greater than the level of their criminality, that they no longer be allowed to be judges? Is it too much to ask the police officers who are consistently harming African Americans that they be held to account? And since we're doing that, why stop at cops and can work on other civil servants like teachers and principals who also have a role in making sure that there's a demise of African Americans as children? I'm gonna watch the show tonight just like y'all. Yeah, it's better than the Republicans who are walking around with big maxi pads on their ears looking like weirdos. Of course. But I'm not who you are going to need to move. You Democrats are going to need to move those African Americans and white people, but most specifically the African Americans. You're going to need to move the ones off the couch who see that you're black. Cool. Saw that you were black as vice president. Cool. But that ain't enough for them. That's not enough for them. It's not enough for them. You're going to have to do more. Tell them how you are going to improve their lives, how their children are going to be better off, how there's a higher probability that they will own a house because you're president. Show that. Show that they're likely to go to college, more likely to go to college because you're president. Show they're more likely to have better health care because you're president. Show specifically how you're going to make sure that black people are better off because you're black and president. There are a lot of black people who have jobs, but they don't put other black people on. I'm gonna need you to put some black people on when you're president.